'Twas the day before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Except for the big dog, 'cause I got food to make today. Holiday, we out here. Let's go. That's right, fam! It's We Out Here Christmas! I happen to believe that making things that's your own blood, sweat, and tears activity, that's a way better Christmas gift than just going to Walmart and buying something and throwing it in some wrapping paper. I'm a huge believer in that. You know, it's how I think about stuff in the world, but it's true. My goal for today, impart some of my hard work into the people that I love. So we are making an egg bake. Those are potatoes from our garden. You can still see the dirt on them. I'm going to be washing these up. Get them ready for the bottom layer of the egg bake. I'm just taking a bottle brush here. Scrubbing potatoes. Eventually, this show has to kind of like come full circle. Wintertime, Wisconsin, it's slow for finding natural stuff. So the egg bake is kind of a bunch of stuff we accrued before we got to this point. I butchered some venison. You guys didn't see that, and in hindsight that was a dumbass attack, but I'm still learning. You guys might recognize some cantarellas from when I went mushroom hunting with Harvey. I dried some of those out. Those are going into the egg bake. Home potatoes, venison backstrap, onions, not ours. That's a We Out Here style meal. Some wild mushrooms, some wild meat, some homegrown stuff. That's an egg bake. That's how I give back. It's so much more valuable, in my opinion, to give something like this as opposed to giving some gift that you went out and got at Walmart. That's the approach we're taking on this today. I got to get these rinsed up, slightly rehydrated, and then they're going into a pan with some butter. We're going to start doing our process where we stack. These will be stacked first, then the potatoes will be stacked. Then we're going to get that pan really ripping hot, and we're going to put some venison backstrap cubes on there, and just like do one side of those, but get them like almost burnt. And then that's going in too. We'll throw in some onions and cover the whole thing with eggs. It's going to be great. Cheese. Can't wait. These mushrooms really don't take long to reconstitute or to rehydrate, and you can really mess it up by throwing them all in at once. So I just like to get them in here and get them moving around and try to shake most of that loose dirt off of them. They're sand. These grow out of sand in my experience. But then get them out of there before they start losing all their umami. You can see it leaking out of the water. And I'll show you. You can see it turning brown already, and that's not from dirt. That's the umami coming out of the mushrooms. And that's the stuff we want to keep. So we just throw these in real quick and get them rinsed out. And I don't know, you know, most people probably don't want dirt in their food for Christmas, but if a little bit makes it through, it kind of is what it is in my opinion, because we're eating stuff from outside. My goodness, that cantarella smells so good. Black trumpets are just a treat. I was actually kind of worried, like, you know, you do some drying for the first time with a different type of mushroom. It's like, I don't know what they're gonna be. Those smell exactly like the day that I picked them. Dried them, ripped them through the water, now into the butter in the pan. The smell I'm getting, just like it. Just like the first day we had them. I'm just kind of doing a little quick saute on these so they aren't raw going in. We'll run a knife through them after they're cooked and the potatoes are in. So that's what we're talking about. There's those black trumpets. You really can't believe how black they look. They kind of impart their umami into everything. So if you throw those in the fettuccine, they make it look gray. It doesn't really bother me. Potatoes are now on. This thing is starting to happen. Yes. So look, YouTube. Whew. Homegrown, fresh. I mean, they aren't super fresh. They've been out in that bucket for a month or two. But in terms of like digging potatoes out of the ground, that's still really fresh. They got dirt on them. They're perfect. They're like cutting into an apple more than like cutting into a potato from the store. They take a long time to pre-brown. So we've had those things on like 3/4 heat on top of the stove for like over a half an hour, and they're just starting to get soft enough where I'm cool with them. I'm gonna let those sit in there one more time and really get brown on the whatever side it's on right now, and then we're taking those off. We're gonna hit them with parsley. Then those have salt and pepper and parsley on them. I think I'm probably gonna throw some garlic on too. So we're just working on getting the silver skin off of this piece of meat. Then we're gonna cube it up. We'll also hit these pieces of meat with salt before we start cooking them. Alright, that pan is hot, so that butter's almost turning brown right away. There's the salted meat. Now I'm going to spread that out. Tried to get those as flat as I could to make sure that every single one of them had contact with the pan. We're just going to let that cook until it just starts juicing up on the top. And then we're pulling them off and throwing them in the stacking tray. So yeah, black trumpets. There's the potatoes. I'm throwing some dried parsley up on top of these. Can't do too much of that. Plus we're going to stir it up and it's going to get incorporated later. Potatoes, yes. Mushrooms, yes. Steak on. Ooh, it's starting to happen. Alright, fan, you see how that venison, I've never even touched it. But you see how it's getting that red up on top of it? That means it's cooked to where I'm ready for it to go into the bake. So, yeah, YouTube, raw onion on the bottom of the pan. My thought process on that is that's going to be the part that gets the most direct heat. I do want a little bit of crunch in it. I don't really like the crunch of raw onions, so it's for everybody else. But, you know, that's what you got to do. That is the potatoes and steak. That is some onions that are cooking. That's the black trumpets. All of that stuff is going to go into that bowl periodically, and I'm going to give it like the full turnover. Mix it up, all of it. The mixture is going to go into that pan on top of those onions. Egg bake. We got about, what, I don't know, a dozen eggs probably that we're going to really scramble up hard and then pour it over the top. All right, squad. Potatoes in, steak in. We're going to do this thing half and half, so we're going to only do like mushrooms on half of it. You know, trying to please everybody. Some people, I guess, just don't like mushrooms. They're less and I gain more for me. But so I'm going to get this mixed up good. Like this. And then we're going to pour about half of this mixture in. Go in right on top of here like this. And we'll spread it out a little bit. I'm just trying to get a pretty good estimate of what half is here. There we go. So now we'll spread this out and work it down into the corners. That's in an effort to allow the eggs to get all around it. I don't know, something like that I'd say. Whatever, it don't really matter. Okay, mushrooms are in. We're gonna give this another good stir. I did keep one of the black trumpets out of the mix so we can mark which side has the mushrooms in it. Now we'll pour this part in. And we'll just try to keep it over to this side as good as we can. And we'll spread it into the middle as we go. Ooh, you can really smell those mushrooms in there. They smell so sweet.
Cantharella smells just like fruit to me. It's like a musty apricot or something like that, but it's really good. It smells awesome to me. So okay, now we're gonna take these and work them down. We might have did a little bit too much in terms of how high we got it in here.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, now boy.
Mama, why are you holding that?
She's filming for me, Bugaroo. We're just gonna come in with a bunch of scrambled eggs and pour it over the top. And par bake that. All right, YouTube, that is the egg bake. We put 15 eggs on top of it with milk in them. It would be my style to kind of leave that hanging out a little bit. I like the rough top to it. We certainly could have covered it with more eggs. We chose not to. We're gonna just like par bake this. So we're gonna throw this in the oven at like 350 and we're gonna let it run for half hour and then pull it. I don't think it's gonna be done at that point, but the eggs should be solid enough on top that we can throw cheese on it and cover it, and then we'll finish it where we go for Christmas. It's turning out just exactly how I want it to. This oven's preheating. So we're going to close this door and let it start doing its thing. Oh my goodness. Wow, the egg bake looks absolutely outstanding if you're asking me. We're gonna let that hang out in the pan, cool down a little bit, and then the next thing that we're going to do is take some cheese and cover it. We're gonna transport it while it's like still lukewarm, and then when we get there we'll throw it in the oven with the cheese on top, melt the cheese, and then we'll move from there into the eating portion, which is gonna be fantastic. All right, YouTube. You're seeing the remnants of it. Good result at the family Christmas. So it ended up that the egg bake went over great with everybody. Everybody thought it was really good. The mushroom side was the only side that got touched. Yes! So basically I got a lot of good food into people that I care about today. Garden potatoes, foraged black trumpets, hand butchered venison, hand cared for venison. It's time for the face hit. Full disclosure, this stuff is cool now. I totally forgot to take the camera to the Christmas that I just got done attending, but we'll face hit it, and because it's great. I mean, I already know it's great. I had the side with the black trumpets at Christmas, and it was really good. This side doesn't have it in there, but steak, potatoes, cheese, onions, eggs, how can it not be good? Face hit. It's still good. So, oh hey, there's a little black trumpet right on top there. Anyway, double face hit, I guess. But this is outstanding. So, no problem there. Last one. Alright guys, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We out here. Catch you on the next one.